The Chancellor, the Right Honourable the Lord Willits, will now open the ceremony.
Graduands and guests, as Chancellor of the University and by the authority of the Senate and the Council, I declare this congregation open for the conferring of degrees on candidates both present and absent. A warm welcome to you all, and now please be seated.
The President and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Edmund Burke, will now address the congregation.
Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Graduands, today is a momentous day, a significant milestone in your lives. For some, the end of higher education as you move on to a profession, and for others, the next step along your educational pathway. When you look back on your time at Leicester, it'll be for many reasons. The memorable events you attended, sporting triumphs, your favourite lectures, and taking part in groups and societies. At Leicester, you will have forged friendships with people from across the world, with different outlooks, cultures, and values. Friendships that have helped you to thrive and survive, and friendships for life that will be as important to you in the decades to come as they are today. A sense of community and belonging is at the heart of our campus, and it's this sense of belonging that will prepare you on the road ahead, ensuring that you're ready to face new challenges with confidence and with strength. University is about much more than just exams and assessments. It's about discovery. What you've learned about yourself is as important as the subjects that you studied. Remember your first day at Leicester, when everything seemed so new? Many of you had left home for the first time. Some of you were the first in your family to go to university. Well, think of how far you've come, how much you developed, and what a journey it's been. You've fulfilled hopes and aspirations and proved to yourself and to others what you are capable of. After all your hard work, now is your opportunity to celebrate. Today is a time for cheers, for laughter, and tears of joy. And we've an extra reason to celebrate today, because it was 100 years ago that the foundations for this university were laid, and you are among our first centenary graduates. The University of Leicester was established quite uniquely as a living memorial for all those who made sacrifices in the First World War. We were built on the hope for a better tomorrow. By bringing people together, our founders sought to use higher education as a power for good, to transform lives. That's a commitment that we honour to this day.
Let us offer higher education as our war memorial, to honour those who took part in the Great War, to the glory of those gallant fighters who came through, and to the memory of those devoted heroes who gave their lives in the cause of freedom. Now, every material asset a person possesses may flee. Education alone is an asset of which an individual cannot be robbed.
University of Leicester, educating and inspiring for a century.
You should be proud to be a Leicester graduate. You're graduating from a university that's ranked amongst the top 200 in the world by the Times Higher, and we're one of only 25 targeted by the country's top 100 graduate employers. You're also part of a university with a world-leading reputation for research and discovery. We're known for the invention of DNA fingerprinting by Sir Alec Jeffreys, and of course we made the remarkable discovery of King Richard III right here in Leicester. More recently, we've designed and built equipment on board the European Space Agency's Bepi Colombo mission to Mercury. This continues a proud history of this university's technology operating in space every year since 1967. Last year, we were awarded the Times Higher Education Research Project of the Year. This was for a pioneering kit that collects DNA evidence and will secure justice in developing countries. And in medicine, our work has shown why the first pill for asthma in 20 years can help to reduce asthmatic attacks. We're proud of our global impact and proud to be a global university in a city that is amongst the most culturally and ethnically diverse in the UK. Being part of the international family that is the University of Leicester has provided you with the knowledge and experience to become a global citizen equipped for life in the 21st century. You graduate at a time when the world is grappling with major challenges, be that climate change, political uncertainty, growing inequalities, or ageing populations, to name just some. Your generation will be instrumental in addressing these issues, and what you've learned at this university will empower you to make a difference. In the words of children's rights campaigner Marian Wright Edelman, education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. Graduands, we believe in your abilities to go out there and make change happen. It might feel like you're saying goodbye to your university today, but I can assure you that it's just the start of a new relationship. As a Leicester graduate, you will always be part of the Leicester family. You join our global network of 190,000 alumni who keep in touch with us to tell us about their success. And we look forward to hearing your stories, because in many ways it's the combined impact of your individual achievements that truly measures the value of the University of Leicester. Graduands, you now have new letters that you can put after your name, a permanent reminder of your time at Leicester. But our purpose has been to equip you with something more than a degree, with the spirit of intellectual inquiry, with a deep curiosity, and with the perseverance, skills, and confidence to launch yourself into life beyond university. Parents, relatives and friends of our graduating students, please join me in applauding our graduating class of 2019. Graduands, please join me in showing your appreciation to your families and friends for their ongoing support. Families and friends, can I encourage you to clap, cheer, shout, and make a lot of noise as our graduands walk across the stage today. This is a day for celebration, and we should make the most of it. Graduands, I congratulate you on the degrees you've obtained, and on behalf of the University of Leicester, I wish you every success for the future. Thank you.
Mr. Chancellor, as head of the College of Life Sciences, I, Professor Philip Baker, present the following candidates for their awards. For the degree of Doctor of Medicine, Lava Knapper. Jatinda Minas. Simon Scott. Kerry Woolnough. And Si Cheng Yao. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Razif Abbas. Surah Aboud. Iman Abdullah. Rosita Adib. Khalud Alajani. Konstantinos Alexandrou. Walid Al-Gadi. Rashid Al-Hamdi. Ahmed Al-Hindi. Nora Al-Ibrahim. Muwafaq Al-Lami. Rebecca Alchin. Zamzam Al-Materi. Ban Al-Wash. Al-Amal Al-Yamani. Aisha Amir. Oluwamodupe Ayeni. Claire Barnes. Rebecca Boucher. Elisa Dalla Vecchia. J. Pal Dabar. Omid Darwish. Budor Edowaji. Huye Faramand. Alina Finch. Kaylee Frame. Despina Giacomidi. Daniel Hughes. Tayyaba Iftikhar. Mohammed Zubair Isra. Omar Yanha. Salim Khatib. Prathip Kanagala. Yanis Koukidis. Samir Kumani. Lorna Latimer. Louis Levine. Daniel Madison. Sally Majd. Luke Martinson.
Congratulations. Well done.
Carl Melbourne.
Congratulations. Well done.
Sophie Millett.
Congratulations. Well done.
Rafat Mohammed Jawad.
Congratulations.
Dina Nilasari.
Congratulations. Well done.
Mark Openshaw.
Congratulations. Well done.
Meeta Patel.
Congratulations. Well done.
Ananthi Ramanchandran.
Congratulations. Well done.
Benjamin Richards.
Congratulations. Well done.
Eva Maria Rick.
Congratulations. Well done.
Zaid Shahid Saeed.
Congratulations. Well done.
Anita Singh.
Congratulations. Well done.
Jinteri Smargu Rouse Katie.
Congratulations. Well done.
Marcia Soars.
Congratulations. Well done.
Meetal Solanki.
Congratulations. Well done.
Yansong.
Congratulations. Well done.
Kaylee Walker.
Congratulations. Well done.
David Wimbry.
Congratulations. Well done.
Murat Yildirim.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Doctor of Psychology, Karen Greenacre.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Master of Philosophy, Muhammad Al-Hashimi.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Master of Research in Clinical Sciences, Haresh Selvaskanan.
Congratulations. Well done.
And Hilary Thornton.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Master of Science in Bioinformatics, Christopher Older.
Congratulations. Well done.
Wafa Al-Turaif.
Congratulations.
Justin Dankwa.
Congratulations. Well done.
Lewis Gallagher.
Congratulations. Well done.
Eleanor Jones.
Congratulations.
And
well done.
Richard Reeves.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Master of Science in Diabetes, Madupe Akinrinlola.
We got there. Congratulations. Well done.
Preeti Chiran.
Congratulations. Well done.
Maysam Haddad.
Congratulations. Well done.
Hane Utbi.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Master of Science in Medical Statistics, Henry Chen.
Congratulations. Well done.
Heather Pode.
Congratulations. Well done.
And Mark Senior.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Master of Science in Quality and Safety in Healthcare, Heather Darlow.
Congratulations. Well done.
Amy Jones.
Congratulations.
Nitesh
Well done.
Singh.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the postgraduate diploma in postmortem radiology for natural and forensic death investigation, Sharon Melmore.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the postgraduate certificate in quality and safety in healthcare, Lisa Keeler.
Congratulations.
For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Applied Psychology, Cassandra Ado-Marcoe.
Congratulations. Well done.
Andrea Angunlo.
Congratulations. Well done.
Alana Bentley.
Congratulations. Congratulations, well done.
James Hickman.
Congratulations, well done.
Joe Holder.
Congratulations, well done.
Clarissa May Lee.
Congratulations, well done.
Emma Matheson.
Congratulations, well done.
Jordan Moore.
Congratulations, well done.
Shimwa Mori Manyun Du.
Congratulations, well done.
Chloe Raisbeck.
Congratulations, well done.
And Sophie Smith.
Congratulations, well done.
For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Psychology, Sophie Adamson.
Congratulations, well done.
Ebidu Adidapo.
Congratulations, well done.
Zaina Ahmed.
Congratulations, well done.
Deborah Aiola.
Congratulations, well done.
Nadia Akhtar.
Congratulations, well done.
Joshua Akpan.
Congratulations, well done.
Khadija Ali.
Congratulations.
Abigail Anaine Foucault.
Congratulations, well done.
Karnita Anu.
Congratulations.
Sophia Auled Ali.
Congratulations, well done.
Huiman Aul.
Congratulations, well done.
Omolara Ewogboro.
Congratulations, well done.
Hannah Bailey.
Congratulations, well done.
Rachel Ballinger.
Congratulations, well done.
Hannah Barlow.
Congratulations, well done.
Samantha Barwell.
Congratulations, well done.
William Beckett.
Congratulations, well done.
Abner B.D. Arco.
Congratulations, well done.
Ella Bellati.
Congratulations, well done.
Abby Binch.
Congratulations, well done.
Jake Brady.
Congratulations, well done.
Laura Burr.
Congratulations, well done.
Aisha Butt.
Congratulations, well done.
Emily Carbonero.
Congratulations, well done.
Hannah Chapman.
Congratulations, well done.
Flora Colthurst.
Congratulations, well done.
James Conti.
Congratulations, well done.
Zoe Cornell.
Congratulations, well done.
Zoe Davison.
Congratulations, well done.
Ivana Del Popolo.
Congratulations, well done.
Simran Diol.
Congratulations, well done.
Tamara D. Kaidek.
Congratulations, well done.
Megan Dunnage.
Congratulations, well done.
Eria Dupart.
Congratulations, well done.
Jennifer A. Freeham.
Congratulations, well done.
Niall Evans.
Congratulations, well done.
Catherine Ferguson.
Congratulations, well done.
Courtney Fisher.
Congratulations, well done.
Ryan Flynn.
Congratulations, well done.
Louis Fryer.
Congratulations, well done.
Lucy Goodman.
Congratulations, well done.
Rosie Griffiths.
Congratulations, well done.
Tanya Gupta.
Congratulations.
Jeremiah Hiley.
Congratulations, well done.
Sophia Hayward-Benj.
Congratulations. Well done.
Eleanor Hyatt.
Congratulations. Well done.
Emily Hellis.
Congratulations. Well done.
Rosemary Hummerston.
Congratulations. Well done.
Callum Hyams Parish.
Congratulations. Well done.
Iman Ibrahim.
Congratulations. Well done.
Bolutife Ife Bajoe.
Congratulations. Well done.
Isoken Igbin Ovaya.
Congratulations. Well done.
Alice Jackson.
Congratulations. Well done.
Ramandeep Johal.
Congratulations. Well done.
Fatima Kamara.
Congratulations. Well done.
Kirundeep Kaur.
Congratulations. Well done.
Sidra Korsa.
Congratulations. Well done.
Farah Khan.
Congratulations. Well done.
Bunsi Kotak.
Congratulations. Well done.
Shukman Lee.
Congratulations. Well done.
Kimberly Luya.
Congratulations. Well done.
Rama Ma'ad.
Congratulations. Well done.
Hamad Mahmood.
Congratulations. Well done.
Ellen Unkray.
Congratulations. Well done.
Georgia McFarlane Toms.
Congratulations. Well done.
Nidia Mohammed.
Congratulations. Well done.
Ezagi I Nas.
Congratulations. Well done.
Alexandra Niag.
Congratulations. Well done.
Andrew O'Connor.
Congratulations. Well done.
Zainab Ogunbad A. Joe.
Congratulations. Well done.
Perpetua Opara.
Congratulations. Well done.
Ayana Orr.
Congratulations. Well done.
Aoife O'Shaughnessy.
Congratulations. Well done.
Jennifer Oteng.
Congratulations. Well done.
Henna Patel.
Congratulations. Well done.
Parinita Paul.
Congratulations. Well done.
Maisie Prestige.
Congratulations. Well done.
Isabel Pullinger.
Congratulations. Well done.
Tanya Rayman.
Congratulations. Well done.
Aisha Rashid.
Congratulations.
Elizabeth Richards.
Congratulations. Well done.
Katie Roach.
Congratulations. Well done.
Rebecca Russell.
Congratulations. Well done.
Aliza Samnani.
Congratulations. Well done.
Kajal Samurai.
Congratulations. Well done.
Juwair Rija Shufik.
Congratulations. Well done.
Zineb Sharif.
Congratulations. Well done.
Elizabeth Smith.
Congratulations. Well done.
Lydia Smith.
Congratulations. Well done.
Nicole Smith.
Congratulations. Well done.
Tinuola Somiye.
Congratulations. Well done.
Jessica Stone.
Congratulations. Well done.
Chandini Subram Aniyam.
Congratulations. Well done.
Birantika Sukumar.
Congratulations. Well done.
Tabassum Sultana.
Congratulations. Well done.
Jyoti Sumal.
Congratulations. Well done.
Kudel Simmons.
Congratulations. Well done.
Hannah Taylor.
Congratulations. Well done.
Misha Thakura.
Congratulations. Well done.
Philip Thompson.
Congratulations. Well done.
Megan Thorogood.
Congratulations. Well done.
Daria Chak.
Congratulations. Well done.
Ashley Tolany.
Congratulations. Well done.
Sophie Tyerman.
Congratulations. Well done.
Nikita Varma.
Congratulations.
Sonia Vasu.
Congratulations. Well done.
Niha Verma.
Congratulations. Well done.
Danielle Watkis.
Congratulations. Well done.
Kayla Weeks.
Congratulations. Well done.
Francesca Wheeler.
Congratulations. Well done.
Anthony Wilson.
Congratulations. Well done.
Annabelle Wright.
Congratulations. Well done.
Cassia Wright.
Congratulations. Well done.
Dhruvi Yadav.
Congratulations. Well done.
Amina Yasmin.
Congratulations. Well done.
And Victoria Yoksha.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Psychology with a year abroad, Andrea Yankovac.
Congratulations. Well done.
And Ore Over Olaniyi.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Psychology with Cognitive Neuroscience, Toyin Adimosu.
Congratulations. Well done.
Sana Ali.
Congratulations.
Natasha Asibe.
Congratulations. Well done.
Blessy Babu.
Congratulations. Well done.
Danielle Baptiste.
Congratulations. Well done.
Emily Bennett.
Congratulations. Well done.
Kieran Capaldi.
Congratulations. Well done.
Tasmin Drury.
Congratulations. Well done.
Oliver Dudley.
Congratulations. Well done.
Bethany Gould.
Congratulations. Well done.
Megan Hetherington.
Congratulations. Well done.
Loshana Jayarajan.
Congratulations. Well done.
Jessica Lister.
Congratulations. Well done.
Leonie Mahampitiya.
Congratulations. Well done.
Jenna Misane.
Congratulations. Well done.
Karandeep Nanuan.
Congratulations. Well done.
Princess Ndo.
Congratulations. Well done.
Jenny Newton.
Congratulations. Well done.
Claire Robinson.
Congratulations. Well done.
Lily Smith.
Congratulations. Well done.
Craig Sperry.
Congratulations. Well done.
Saruthi Thavarasa.
Congratulations. Well done.
And Philippa Walker.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Psychology with Sociology, Chika Aije.
Congratulations. Well done.
Imane Bogues Parker.
Congratulations. Well done.
Kirsty Britton.
Congratulations. Well done.
Yahya Farouk,
Congratulations. Well done.
Catherine Grant,
Congratulations. Well done.
Daisy Henry,
Congratulations. Well done.
Anika Raju Lamprey,
Congratulations. Well done.
Elizabeth Elliott,
Congratulations. Well done.
Lucy Kershaw,
Congratulations. Well done.
Laura Small,
Congratulations. Well
and
done.
Thomas Sun. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Sadaf Nauman.
Congratulations. Well done.
For the degree of Science in Psychology, Elia Wheatley.
Congratulations. Well done.
And Sanu Sise Naji.
Congratulations. Well done.
Mr. Chancellor, as public orator, may I present Mr. George Davies, a candidate for an honorary degree. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a carefully prepared oration here about George Davies, and he has an equally well-crafted reply. However, George is such an exceptional character that graduates and graduands, if you are going to find out anything about this remarkable man, I've decided, my neck is on the line here, to ask him a few impromptu questions so we can really find out about his amazing, innovative mind. George has been in retail for 57 years, so medical students, you were wondering, what can we find out from George that can be of application in medicine? But I hope to show you that we can find something. So here's the first question, George. You were brought up in Liverpool, and as a boy you played football. Tell us, who would you have liked to have been? George Best, the footballer, or George Harrison of the Beatles? Or were you just as happy to be George Davies?
Good question. Haven't got a clue.
I think you were happiest as being George Davies. Tell us what happened when the legendary Liverpool manager Bill Shankly came home to tea.
Well, I went to a school called Bootle Grammar, and I have to say it was the best learning I've had in my life because it was mixing with people, every people whose parents came from all walks of life, dockers, doctors, and my mother, who was an amazing woman but a bit of a snob, didn't like me going to a brutal school. My sister had gone somewhere else, a bit posher. And one of the things that I found when I went to that school, my mother said, I don't want you to get a Liverpool accent. So every Monday night at 4 o'clock, I had to get a bus into Liverpool, away from where I was living, to have elocution lessons. All right, you know what I mean? And then, because I was pretty good at soccer, I managed to get picked for England schoolboys, scored 2 goals at Burnley against Scotland. Scotland have never forgiven me. And then the next morning, Bill Shankly came round. And then he said, will you come and train with us? And I had a choice of working, you know, trying to train as a soccer player, or going to university. Anyway, he made the decision for me, because after training for 4 weeks, he said, in his Scottish accent, that he wasn't going to sign me on.
Okay.
So I went to Birmingham University, and again, because my mother knew exactly what I should do, I did dentistry, and it took me, I really loved it at Birmingham, and I played soccer for Britain, British universities, and then after 2 years, they said to me, "You'll never make a dentist." That was the best day of my life.
So you moved on then to Littlewoods as a trainee. What did you learn at Littlewoods?
Well, one of the great things, where I've really been lucky, they gave me fantastic training. And for instance, I learned all about fabrics by working in mills in Yorkshire, because Yorkshire did all the wools, Lancashire did all the cottons, down here did all the knitwear and jerseys. And of course that's difficult for people today because there's very few of those left. But that grounding made me realize how important the whole of the textile industry was, and I understood it.
What did you do when you were threatened with a sack about the supply of white ankle socks at Whitsun in Manchester?
Yeah, that was a moment in my life, because today you'd be able to go and see people and say they can't fire me, etc. But they said, "Do you realise?" Because what happened over Whitsun, ankle socks, there were Morris dancers, and the ankle socks sales in Manchester went from about, we used to talk dozens, went from about 300 a week to 3,000. And the manager of Manchester phoned up my boss saying, "Do you realise that idiot, Davies, has only sent us?" And I had a day to do it, so what I did, I got in my car and I came to Leicester, and I went to W. Bruins and picked up 3,000 ankle socks and took them back to Manchester, so I kept my job.
So you saved your job. Let's go on to the retailers Hepworth and Kendall's. How did you transform these two companies that weren't doing too well into the revolutionary new concept of Next?
I was approached, I'd had my own business. I then was approached by Hepworth, who weren't doing this really old-fashioned company, only had menswear, and they'd heard about I had a reasonable reputation, and they asked me to go up and have an interview. And I went up, saw the board, and I thought it was quite interesting, this. They said, "We've only got an hour and a half to talk to you, George. This is for a brand new business, but we'll only talk to you an hour and a half because we want to go to Headingley to watch the cricket." So they all disappeared to Headingley to watch the cricket. Anyway, I said I'd have to, if I was going to do it, I'd have to travel around myself. You know, you didn't have any drivers or anything. And I discovered where the gap in the market was. In those days, a bit like today, everybody was really aiming at the 20, 23, 24, 18-year-olds, the younger. And the displays weren't good. And I thought, well, there's the gap. And I then put the concept together, went back up to these boys in Hepworth. Fortunately, to start Next, they'd taken over a business in Leicester called Kendall's. Kendall's Keeps You Dry. And they'd taken that over, 70 stores. And I also, what I managed to do to get them to build a shop in the warehouse so that I could test how it would work, because I had to try and convert those 70 stores in 3 months. And we built it, so we knew the formula. Nobody had ever done that. Obviously, the key is, I'd say, it's not me, it's all my team. I'm a big team player. And we built it, we transformed the 70 stores, and Next just took off.
How did you develop this legendary loyalty of your staff?
Well, first of all, I don't call them staff. I call them colleagues. I never say people work for me, I say work with me. And this is true. I've never had an office in my life. I sit there and work wherever it's right. I don't have special lunches for me. I do my own bacon and egg sandwiches. That's how I've worked. I want to be part of the people, and I still am. I've never changed. And a little thing, and I'd say it to all of you if you're going to business, I know every birthday of all my people all over the world, and I say now with email, they get a birthday card. And they don't get it expected. But it's things like that that are important. Too many people who get on think they're better than others.
In 2004, every coffee table of every house in the UK had one of these. Tell us about the next catalogue.
First of all, it was called Next Directory.
Oh, sorry.
You'd think you'd know better than he's at the university, wouldn't you? Next Directory. I was getting well known by then, for Next, and done so well. And I could see there was going to be a problem with traffic. And it's quite interesting, this, because if you can see a vision, you'll always do better. And if you see the vision, and just to let you know, in 1982, when I started, there were 10 million registered vehicles. Today, on the roads, 48 million. That's why the high street is in trouble. And so going back to that, I thought, I could see this coming. And the mail order in those days, in the 80s, was 28-day delivery. So I produced, with, again, all my team, a catalogue that also had swatches in, and nobody had done that. And the first night, I managed to get on the clothes show, and the night of the clothes show, we had 85,000. And I said, you've got to pay £3 for this, but if you order something from it, you'll get it off your order. And that night, that Sunday night after the clothes show, we had 94,000 people phoning up, because you couldn't do internet then. And it just took off, and so it's brilliant. No, brilliant for everybody.
Since Next, the big innovation probably was the realization that people would buy clothes in supermarkets. What's the story of George at Asda?
Well, it's a similar thing, you see. I could see supermarkets, Asda's, had parking. And so I know somebody wrote, when they read that I was doing this, some Londoner, I'm not anti all Londoners, but I'm not, wrote, nobody will buy clothing in supermarkets. So I proved them wrong, what my team did. And I have to say again, when I started George, the team I started with had all worked for me at Next, and they were very loyal. And what I did, I called it the George Davies Partnership, and anybody in that team, that first 80 of people, could buy in. Even my driver said, I've only got a 500 quid, can I buy 500 quid's worth? I said, yes. So fortunately, when I sold out, because they wanted to buy me, this is 5 years later, everybody did well out of it. And that's what's the point if all your people, and I think there's too much selfishness in the world. People tend to want to look after themselves, and you've got to look after everybody if you're doing okay.
The next question is from graduating medical student Phoebe Allabone Salt. Stand up, Phoebe. Phoebe's a wonderful horn player and a champion of Medicine Sans Frontières. So here's the question. In 2017, you gave the University of Leicester £5.15 million. This is the largest ever philanthropic gift from any individual. This donation has had a significant impact on the state of medicine at our university. Can you tell us your motivation behind this donation?
I wanted to get an honorary degree. Now for the truth. There's a young gentleman here, Sir Peter Bell, who, as my mother would say when introducing him, this is the man who took my leg off. And it's true. My mother lost her leg, I brought it down, and it couldn't be saved. And I'd already, because of NEXT, had an association with the medical world in Leicester. But because of Peter's influence and lots of things, I got really involved in diabetes, vascular, all that. And the other thing I feel strongly about, when people criticize the NHS, anybody who's working in the NHS, they're criticizing them. So I'll never do that. And so the thing is, instead of criticizing, help. And so, after all these years, and where's the other guy, Rob? Rob? He puts me to shame because he's 6'8" and I'm 5'8", and I look like a little boy. But anyway, I'll forgive you for that. We worked together for many years, and we could see there was an opportunity. And also, where's Phil? I got together, I didn't say, oh, here's the money. I then get together with them, and we put a newer idea, a new team together, which indirectly my charity funds. But the point is, I get involved, and you know, I was talking about birthday cards. Every one of those people in there get a birthday card off me too, because NHS have never done, people running NHS have never done it. Anyway, the thing is, the thing that makes me prouder than anything I've achieved is that this team have saved over 400 people from having their leg amputated in just over 2 years. So that's...
Here you are. I'm going to. Thanks very much.
That, I fear, is rather a hard act to follow. Mr. Chancellor, as public orator, may I present Professor Sir Peter Bell, a candidate for a Distinguished Honorary Fellowship. To be a Distinguished Honorary Fellow, to wear what one irreverent earlier recipient has described as a plums and custard dressing gown, is to receive the highest honour that this university can confer. It is a title limited to 24 members who have already merited an honorary degree for their achievements and who have an outstanding record of service to this university. Peter Bell has undoubtedly earned his place in that illustrious fellowship. Peter was one of the cohort of talented clinicians recruited in the early 1970s to take part as foundation professors in the adventure which was the new Leicester Medical School. He was educated at Sheffield and held a lectureship in surgery at Glasgow University under his mentor, Sir Andrew Kay. When he came to Leicester in 1973, at the tender age of 34, he was one of the rising stars of surgery. By that stage, he had already made his name in the relatively novel fields of vascular surgery and organ transplantation, and the department he created at Leicester continued that pioneering work, establishing a reputation for vascular research which continues to this day. At the same time, the department trained generations of medical students in the skills necessary for all doctors, whether or not they later became specialist surgeons. research and teaching are not the whole of the story. For all clinical academics, then as now, service provision, that is, caring for real patients, is a large part of the work. Peter says that being knocked down by a car in Sweden and almost killed gave him a valuable insight into what patients have to suffer. It is certainly the case that his greatest satisfaction has come, quite simply, from helping his patients to get better and finding new and better ways of doing it. One of the many patients he treated, as we have now heard, was the mother of our other honouree today, George Davies. It may not be appreciated now, but before the establishment of the medical school in Leicester just over 40 years ago, medical provision here was regarded as seriously under-resourced, and one of the reasons for funding the new school was the need to raise standards in the area. The expertise brought to Leicester by Peter Bell and the surgeons he led in the university and in the local hospitals was a crucial component in the modernisation of surgical provision and the improvement of outcomes in this area. Leicester was fortunate that Peter Bell was not lured away to other distinguished posts and that he stayed with us here for 40 years, ensuring the continued growth of his department and the training of numerous excellent surgical clinical scientists, an aspect of his career of which he is rightly proud. His achievements have also been widely recognised elsewhere. He has some 700 publications to his name on vascular disease, transplantation and cancer in medical and surgical journals. Among the many other indications of his standing, he was president of the Surgical Research Society and of the European Society of Vascular Surgery. He was one of the founding members of the Academy of Medical Sciences and was vice president of the Royal College of Surgeons from 2001 to 2004. He was knighted in 2002 and awarded the Honorary Degree of Doctor of Science here in 2003. Few people in recent times have done more to improve the general standards of vascular surgery, and fewer still to improve the quality of surgical treatment in our area. Retirement has given Peter more opportunities for things which may have suffered during his exceptionally busy professional career: playing lawn bowls, listening to traditional jazz, cooking Indian meals, and above all, spending more time with his family. But retirement has not meant withdrawing from public life. In particular, Peter has supported medical research charities like the Circulation Foundation, of which he is a patron and George Davies is also a supporter, and our own local Hope Against Cancer, of which Peter has been a president. His continued interest in the advancement of vascular surgery and his wholehearted commitment to the success of this university and of its medical school are what entitle him to the recognition and the thanks which the university gives him today. Mr. Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and the Council, I present Peter Robert Frank Bell that you may appoint him Distinguished Honorary Fellow of the University of Leicester.
Lord Lieutenant, Sheriff, guests. My mother told me many years ago that I was to do surgery. I was 4 years old at the time. I didn't understand what she meant, but I know now. And she also wanted me to be a professor, so she named me P.R., she forgot the O, F. That's the mistake she made. Now, I came to Leicester in 1974. Most of you weren't born then, I guess. And somebody called Mrs. Thatcher, who you may have heard of, she was the Education Secretary who announced 3 new medical schools, Southampton, Nottingham and Leicester. And I saw this job advertised, and I thought, well, that's a good position to look at. It was a good university, it had many international departments, molecular biology, chemistry, space science, and it was a new place to go where I could not make any mistakes really, and follow somebody else and try and build up the department to become what I hope it now has become. So when I came here in 1974, it wasn't quite like that, actually. Unbeknown to me, there was a financial crisis brewing, and again, you won't all remember this, but there was rubbish in the streets. Most people were on strike. There were intermittent power cuts, and the International Monetary Fund were knocking on the door. And the medical school was almost cancelled. Most of you won't know that, so you wouldn't have been here except that somehow the university and other people managed to avoid that happening. I think it was because it would be more expensive to close it down because of all the appointments and the buildings, and so it went ahead, so you should be thankful for that. Now, being a doctor, as some of you will be, has special in many ways because you meet people you wouldn't otherwise meet. And I met George Davies that way, which was fortunate because although the medical school went on, we had to cut our funding. We had no money. Nottingham and Southampton were well funded. We had hardly any funding at all. And that's one of the reasons, as you heard, why the university, the Leicester Medical School came here, because of the poor resources that existed here. I'll give you an idea of how the change has occurred. When I first came here, there were 10, I think, orthopedic surgeons, maybe less, maybe 5. There are now 40 or more. So you can see how under-resourced they were. Now, in the middle of all that, research, of course, came very much last, and there was no money for research. And that's where George came in. One day I was on call, and by pure chance, in came George with his mother. I didn't know who he was. And his mother had an ischemic leg, a leg with a poor circulation, which goes gangrenous eventually. I couldn't save his leg, but she got better. But she always announced me as the man who cut her leg off, which is a bit awakening for me. Anyway, George then said, I'd like to help with your research. And that's what he's done ever since. He's been a fantastically supportive person. And in the end, you've seen what happened recently. And it allowed us to do things we could not have done without George. I'd like to thank you, George, for all the support you've given us over the years. We wouldn't have been where we are otherwise. But having no resources in Leicester meant that people, it was a long waiting list, no one got anything done, and they went privately or they went to London. And my next door neighbour said to me once, when I'd been here about a year, he said, well, when you've been here for a year or two and you've had some experience, I suppose you'll go to Harley Street. I said, I wouldn't go to Harley Street if I was unconscious, he said. And that's true, because people think it's an amazing place to go, but it's not actually. You just need to have money, that's all. The other thing I had to do when I came here was to organise the curriculum. There wasn't a curriculum. And I was in charge of the first 2 years, which is mainly anatomy, biology, and that kind of thing at that time. And we were trying a new thing in Leicester called Man in Society. Now, I suppose nowadays that would be man and woman in society, otherwise there'd be problems with that. And this was a new idea altogether. This was because before this time there was no GP teaching, there was no teaching about communication skills, and most of you have been involved with doctors who don't talk to you properly, who don't understand what they're saying, and that's a lesson to learn. And this idea was to try and make them talk in a better way to their patients. And of course, it was a good idea too, because most people think it's intuitive. People talk to patients normally anyway. They don't, you know. And as I was told earlier on, I was knocked down by a car some time ago, and I was in hospital quite a lot, had various operations, and I learnt from that experience. It's true what they say. The food is terrible. It's always the wrong thing you haven't ordered that you get. The tea lady is your best friend, no question about it. She comes in and talks to you, and talks to you about normal things. The doctors come along and stand in groups at the bottom of your bed, whispering to one another about you, and then if you're lucky, one of them comes on his own and says something to you which is complete lies, and they go away and you think, what the hell was that all about? So don't do that. Try and avoid that. And I think, in fact, I would suggest to the dean that the medical curriculum should be changed to include students doing 2 weeks as a patient. I don't think you should be run over by a car, first of all, but I think you should certainly have a week or two as a patient. You learn from that exactly what you should and shouldn't do. When you speak to patients, remember a number of things. Don't ever tell them there's nothing wrong with you. There is something wrong with them. They know it. They've told you. It may be psychological, but they've told you. Don't say that. And I'll tell you a little story, which is an example of that. My wife down on holiday somewhere in Cornwall, and we got talking to a young couple who were involved at that time in Carnaby Street, which is all the 60s, miniskirts and so on. And I never tell anybody on holiday what I do. I always say I'm in drains, and then I always keep them quiet. Well, she said, I don't like doctors, she said. I said, why not? She said, well, she was about 25 or 26. I had chest pain, she said, and I went to all these doctors in Harley Street and had all these expensive tests done privately, and they said, there's nothing wrong with you. But I knew there was something wrong with me. So I went to a spiritualist. And I went inside, and she had this big glass dome, and she asked me a few questions, turned it around, and she had the answer. I said, really? Do you know what it was all the time? It was my left ear, she said. I had an infection in my left ear. And there's a nerve which goes from your ear, down here, across your chest, down to your tummy. And I thought it was my heart all the time. It wasn't my heart. So she gave me some drops, which cost me a lot of money, I have to say. And she said, put these in your ear at exactly 9 o'clock in the morning, not a minute sooner, not a minute later. I won't be responsible if you do. At 12 o'clock and at 3 o'clock. And you know, within 3 weeks, my pain had gone completely. So that's what you do. You don't tell lies, but you don't say there's nothing wrong with the patient, ever, whatever you do. So that's the first thing I would tell you. The second thing is, congratulations on passing your degrees. It's been hard work, I know, and you'll come across lots of problems in your career when you'll be uncertain of yourself and you won't know what to do. My particular problem arrived once when I had to say a patient was dead the first time. That was pretty awful, really. And I kept on, the nurse would say, the patient's dead, doctor, and I said, well, I'm not sure, really. And I'm not certain. So you take his blood pressure, look in his eyes, take his pulse, nothing, of course. And you say, well, can I send him down to the morgue? No, I'm not sure. I'll come back in an hour or so and see. Well, you may laugh, but it's true, you wait. and then they say, come back in an hour or so, and they say, well, can I? No, I'm not quite sure yet. But the arms are stiff. Look, they're stiff now. And eventually, after about 3 hours, I said, okay, that's fine. This is not a completely untrue tale, because in Leicester here, not too long ago, there was not a friend of ours, but a lady along the road who died. The GP came and visited her and took her pulse, obviously, quite quickly, and she was sent away to the undertakers. And the undertaker was speaking to the relatives in hushed tones, and not the consultant undertaker, but the junior undertaker came and said, excuse me. He said, stop it, I'm talking to the relatives. Can't you see what I'm doing? But go away and do something else. But she's alive. What do you mean she's alive? She's alive. Well, how do you know that? She said, well, I was pushing some cotton wool up her bottom, as you normally do, apparently. And she said, stop doing that. So I knew she was alive. And she was admitted to the intensive care unit, and it said on the top of the form, admission from undertakers. And she actually survived and did very well in the long term. So remember those little traps that might be there, but always do the best you can. And as George said earlier on, the NHS is well worth trying to save. It's in your hands now. People talk about it and say that it's bad, and so it's not bad at all. Most of it's fantastic. You only hear about the bad things, and I always say to people who I see who are complaining, then write a letter and complain. But the ones who have a good time, they never say anything, of course. That's the problem. 90% say nothing, and I always tell those people to write and say what a good time you had. But they never do, so try and remember that. Work hard in the service. Speak to your patients properly. Remember what I said to you about whispering in corners. And also, listen to your patients. Don't just ignore them and do what you want. Listen to what they've got to say. It is difficult sometimes, but you've got to do it properly. And then do some research. Research you think is, it's a boring thing to do, and so it's not at all. It's a fantastic thing to do. You'll see changes all the time. You'll make changes. You'll make the treatments you're giving better. That's what you must do, and the future is in research, which is what George said. And that's why he funds it, because he knows, and I know, that you have to do research to take things forward. Don't just do your job and forget about it. It's easy to do that, because research is hard work. It's very hard work. Talk to your patients. Remember that it's a great honor looking after patients. They trust in you, and they tell you things they wouldn't tell anybody else. So honor that knowledge that they give you. Don't tell anybody else about it. And most of all, respect them. As George has said, treat everybody the same. Don't treat certain people like this and those down here like that. Treat them all the same, and you'll do very well in life. Thank you very much.
Medical student Charlotte Adams, English student Alice Chambers, and Liam Caray, who graduated in business on Wednesday, accompanied by Professor Anvit from the Law Department, will now perform Suave sia il viento from Così fan tutti by Mozart. There's an old philosopher. He's a bit like George Davies, really, as he's seen it all and tells you how it is. He has a bet with two young boys. If they go away and come back in disguise, they will be able to seduce each other's girlfriends. In this scene, the characters are saying goodbye to the boyfriends with the words, "May the breeze blow lightly on your face." And as we bid you farewell, we say the same to you.
Oh
Mr. President and Vice-Chancellor, as head of the College of Life Sciences, I, Professor Philip Baker, continue to present the following candidates for their awards. For the degree of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, Sherna Aidenwaller, Bethany Aldridge, Phoebe Allabone Salt, Elizabeth Allen, Namita Anand, Sarah Asadi, Lillian Bacon, Georgina Banks, Samuel Barnes, Bethany Barraclough, Rose Bates, Laura Baxendale, David Berry, Mustafa Bashir, Amy Bettam, Lucy Blizzard, Alexander Bolam, India Bound, William Bramley, Jordan Broadhead, Catherine Brown, James Bobb, Emily Buckley, Ilka Butts, Fiona Campbell, Michael Cannon, Alicia Careless, Zoe Castanzi, Lucy Chambers, Roger Chan, Ying Chun Chan, Charlotte Chance, Wesley Channel, Ismail Chowdhury, Hitan Chowan, Carmen Chung, Brian Chu, Tamara Chithira Mahan, Thomas Clark, William Clay, Franco Coca, Yasmin Coggins, Lauren Coles, Stephen Coulson, Emily Cranmer, Simon Comiskey, Thomas Charles Curtis, Thomas James Curtis, Joseph Dalloz, Matthew Dalton, Francesca Dawkes, Seydar G. Oliver Deans, Alice Del Monte, Nathan Denio, Megan Dixon.
Well done.
Benjamin Dow.
Well done.
Chanel Dessart.
Well done.
Peter Dudley.
Well done.
Gregory Duncan.
Well done.
Samuel Eady.
Well done.
Jermaine Egbunike.
Well done.
Stephen Ellis.
Well done.
Amy Elphick.
Well done.
Hannah Emerson.
Well done.
James Finney.
Well done.
Grace Fitzgerald.
Well done.
Susanna Fleming.
Well done.
Amina Fuller-Runshaw.
Well done.
Jasmine Gandhi.
Well done.
Joseph Gardiner.
Well done.
Robert Gardiner.
Well done.
Anoop Gill.
Well done.
Joseph Godden.
Well done.
Jonathan Goldney.
Well done.
Jodie Gould.
Well done.
Hannah Grafton Waters.
Well done.
Marcia Green.
Well done.
Renee Garung.
Well done.
Helen Huck.
Well done.
Robert Hardy.
Well done.
Marie Harrison.
Well done.
Noah Havers.
Well done.
Christopher Hazeldine.
Well done.
Abigail Heerman.
Well done.
Philip Hefford.
Well done.
Jessica Helm.
Well done.
Chloe Hill.
Well done.
Fatin Haji Abdul Manop.
Well done.
Charlotte Hobson.
Well done.
Anna Hodgson.
Well done.
Andrew Holland.
Well done.
Sophie Howlett.
Well done.
Connor Huggins.
Well done.
William Hunt.
Well done.
Elsie Hunter.
Well done.
Natasha Iredale.
Well done.
Molly Jameson.
Well done.
Shazia Jahan.
Well done.
Hannah Jellyman.
Well done.
Nina Jahal.
Well done.
Lauren Jones.
Well done.
Amrath Karthik.
Well done.
Manaith Kamisa.
Well done.
Aisha Khan.
Well done.
Asad Kido.
Well done.
Sri Lanka.
Well done.
Nikki Lau.
Well done.
Amy Legister.
Well done.
Francesca Leone.
Well done.
Michael Learn.
Well done.
Thomas Lee.
Well done.
Samuel Little.
Well done.
Perry Lill.
Well done.
Soangor Lolo Mare.
Well done.
Callum Mackay.
Well done.
Luke McKinnon.
Well done.
Ahmed Mahmood.
Well done.
Uzair Mahmood.
Well done.
Rashad Malhotra Mukhtar.
Well done.
Laura Mansbridge.
Well done.
Charlotte Manton.
Well done.
Stephen Mapp.
Well done.
Akash Mavi Lakandi.
Well done.
Roshin McCarthy.
Well done.
Caitlin Maguire.
Well done.
Anne-Marie Michael.
Well done.
Adam Mohammed.
Well done.
Ellen Moore.
Well done.
Samuel Morfett.
Well done.
Tanushri Motiwale.
Well done.
Jodie Murdoch.
Well done.
Laura Myers.
Well done.
Alice Neal.
Well done.
Arjun Nehra.
Well done.
Esther Netto.
Well done.
Samantha Nuns.
Well done.
Amy Nuttall.
Well done.
Richard Inzui.
Well done.
Rebecca O'Neill.
Well done.
Hannah Orm.
Well done.
Taiwo Oyeboa.
Well done.
Kamashi Pandirajan.
Well done.
Bridge Mohan Pandya.
Well done.
Kohuk Parashar.
Well done.
Jwalant Parek.
Well done.
Jasmine Parrott.
Well done.
Hunaina Patel.
Well done.
Nilish Patel.
Well done.
Lawrence Peters.
Well done.
Jennifer Pilgrim.
Well done.
Laura Points.
Well done.
Isha Prakash.
Well done.
Darren Patak.
Well done.
Bhaskar Kumar.
Well done.
Grace Rake.
Well done.
Joyce Ramsey.
Well done.
Emily Radford.
Well done.
Charlotte Ray.
Well done.
Charlotte Ray.
Well done.
Akshaya Reddy.
Well done.
Stephanie Reese.
Well done.
Sarah Rhodes.
Well done.
Isabel Ritchie.
Well done.
Mark Roberts.
Well done.
Matthew Rose.
Well done.
Priyanka Sajiv Kumar.
Well done.
Sarah Salim,
Well done.
Liam Sanders,
Well done.
Manvir Sandher,
Well done.
Lorna Sanderson,
Well done.
Smrithi Shanthos,
Well done.
Sehar Shakib,
Well done.
Charlotte Saunders,
Well done.
Adam Sunt,
Well done.
and Nika Sheikh,
Well done.
Zainab Sheikh,
Well done.
Ashwini Sharma,
Well done.
Laura Sharman,
Well done.
Hannah Shaw,
Well done.
Jonathan Sheldrake,
Well done.
Lisa Shelswell,
Well done.
Jessica Sidney,
Well done.
Navroz Singh,
Well done.
Bhavandeep Slitch,
Well done.
Charlotte Smith,
Well done.
Holly Summercloud,
Well done.
Michael Spires,
Well done.
Elizabeth Stevens,
Well done.
Abigail Stubbs,
Well done.
Ravinder Suman,
Well done.
Chandini Suresh Kumar,
Well done.
Alexander Sutcliffe,
Well done.
Ellen Sutherland,
Well done.
Matthew Swales,
Well done.
Callum Tate,
Well done.
Charlotte Tasker,
Well done.
Neil Thakra,
Well done.
Navneek Thins,
Well done.
Ashwaiya Thomas,
Well done.
Harvey Thompson,
Well done.
Claire Tomlinson,
Well done.
Charles Trollope,
Well done.
Mohammed Udin,
Well done.
Simfruja Uthaya Shankar,
Well done.
Melissa Weatherby,
Well done.
Chloe Webster,
Well done.
Charlotte Wenban,
Well done.
Emma Wenham,
Well done.
Robert Whelan,
Well done.
Alice White,
Well done.
Miles Whitfield,
Well done.
Annie Wilson,
Well done.
Rachel Wilson,
Well done.
Logan Window,
Well done.
William Woodward,
Well done.
Maria Woolley,
Well done.
Georgina Yan,
Well done.
Jeremy Yarrow,
Well done.
Jonathan Jang,
Well done.
and Hassem Samara.
Chancellor, I now invite a representative of those who you have admitted today to the degrees of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery to come forward to the platform in order that he may lead them in the affirmation of the Declaration of Geneva. The Declaration of Geneva is on page 63 of the programme. Will graduates in the degree of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery please now stand?
Please say the words along with me. I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me, even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice. I will foster the honour and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give to my teachers, colleagues and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of healthcare. I will attend to my own health, well-being and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honour. Please be seated.
Mr. Chancellor, it is a particular pleasure to present to you Dr. Carl Herbert, who has been nominated for a University Distinguished Teaching Fellowship. Carl has been pivotal in establishing one of the best widening participation programs for clinical medicine in the country. His enthusiasm and skill is outstanding, and he repeatedly delivers innovation in teaching. Combined with his kind and inclusive approach to leadership, he is an invaluable member of the teaching team. His personal dedication to students is remarkable, particularly in relation to his work supporting international and widening participation students on foundation programs in the College of Life Sciences.
The Pro-Chancellor students, Dr. Susie Imber, will now address the congregation.
Graduates, it's wonderful to be here on such a special occasion. Just 10 years ago, like you, I stood on this stage to receive a degree from the University of Leicester. That moment was a springboard for an incredible adventure, from climbing the highest mountains to operating a spacecraft that's currently heading for Mercury. One of my greatest privileges is that now I teach the first ever lecture my students hear when they come to the university. That first day, I teach a diverse group of young people, just starting out on their journey. I teach them throughout their degree, and I watch their progress with awe. I learn their names, we share tea and cake, and we form a community. I could not be more proud of the students sitting here today, because I have seen your struggles, watched you persevere, and shared your triumphs. This day is one of great celebration, and you have filled your friends and family with immense pride. As you take your next steps through life, whether you're travelling the world or entering the world of work, I hope you will look back on these years with a smile, and on this place with fondness. As a member of our global alumni family, you are part of a living legacy to build a better future through the benefits of higher education. Today we all stand proud and remember our beginnings, ut vitam habeant, so that they may have life. Thank you.
Graduates and guests, please be upstanding for the final time in this ceremony. Everyone, please join me in congratulating our class of 2019. I now declare this congregation closed.
Thank you.